thank you for joining me for another Sunday Afternoons with Reverend Lucretia. I'm so glad you're here. And so the name of today's talk is Why Giving Opens Your Heart. And the song is Thankful by Josh Groban. If you'd like to listen to the song before you hear the talk, just go ahead and click on the link. It will be down below. We're going to be talking about the fact that the greatest way to say thank you to God is by giving back. God has given us everything that we ever need or want, and it is our job to share our gifts with others. We're going to be talking about the psychological and spiritual benefits of giving. We will be talking about the fact that we are still in the period of Lent, so we'll be talking a little bit about almsgiving. We will have a magical story of this 15-year-old child and how she changed her life and others around her by giving. We will have scriptural references as well as the metaphysical interpretation about giving, and we will close with the fact that it's up to us to be the change. So, psychological and spiritual benefits of giving. Giving money away or tithing to a church or a cause you believe in, or even to strangers, changes you psychologically and spiritually. In a book, The 1 Minute Millionaire, it says, giving as you get acknowledges the universe as truly abundant. Giving taps into the spiritual dimension that multiplies us, our thinking, and our results. The enlightened millionaire knows this. There is an ocean of abundance, and one can tap into it with a teaspoon, a bucket, or a tractor trailer. The ocean doesn't care. That idea was actually first put forth by Louise Hay. So we talk about the fact that you have to have a consciousness to be able to receive, so you have to believe that you deserve that. And in another book called Thou Shalt Prosper by Rabbi Daniel Lapin, which I strongly recommend, he says, giving regular gifts from your income to charity is one excellent way of once and for all persuading your subconscious that you deserve what lies ahead. In this way, it will not only end its sabotage, it will begin actively to assist you in your quest to change your mindset, to get to the place where you deserve money and you are open to receiving it all. When you start giving money away to people and causes you believe in, it could be tithing or any other donations, you will start to not only want more, but you believe that you can have more. When you see giving as an investment in a cause or in your relationship with God, you realize that there are two kinds of relationships. There are transactional and there are transformational, where both parties are giving and transforming, where the whole is different from the sum of the parts. It will cause you to feel better about yourself psychologically and subconsciously, to believe that better things will happen for you. A lot of people find that they like giving so much that they actually want to earn more money so that they can give away more money. Giving money away changes your relationship to money. It makes you feel better about yourself. It strengthens your connection to God and the causes that you believe in. Dr. Shimi Khan talks about the physical ramifications of giving. So humans, she says, are hardwired to give philanthropy. Giving, contribution is a biological need for us. There is a release of dopamine, which causes a sense of well-being. And she says there's also the manufacture of serotonin, which further improves our mood, energy, heart health, and immune system. And one factoid that I thought will be helpful for those of us who are a little bit along further in life, seniors who give actually live 5 years longer. There is less heart disease and less cancer. When you are living as part of a community where you are all giving to each other, it makes us healthier, it makes us stronger, and it makes us happier. So we are still in the time of Lent. We've been talking a whole lot about that 40-day period where everybody is getting ready for the incredible transformation that is Easter. We are praying more, spending more time with God. I talked about that in the last video that I did, if you'd like to check that out. We are fasting, so you give up something that you like so that you're not so distracted, so that you can spend some more time with God. And giving so that we can help people that need help, being kind and generous, is another way of cementing our relationship with God. So as you know, it's a 40-day time period. After 40 days of doing all of this, we have this magnificent renewal and transformation that is Easter. So alms. Alms are the things you give to help the poor. That could be money, food, clothing, medicine, working at food banks, or other charities. God asks us to care for the poor, to show them the love that he has shown to us. Whoever is kind to the needy honors God. One of the key functions of God in our lives and in ourselves is seeking to repair, to restore. By giving of our excess of our time and talents, where we seek to go out and help those who are marginalized and those who are vulnerable, and to give of our own resources. In this way, we better reflect what God has always wanted for us. Lent is a time of restoration. Almsgiving is one way we build that restoration. Many of us have more than what we need, and part of our gratitude to God is to share what we have with those who have nothing. So a couple more reasons for almsgiving. It is all over the Bible. They talk about it everywhere. Alms are part of what we are asked to do. Maybe because it makes us feel better, but more likely because it builds our relationship with God. It does make us feel better. So I think I've talked before about the Harvard study by Michael Norton, where he talks about the fact that you actually can buy happiness. It was done in the United States, across the United States, where 50% of the people were given money to spend on themselves and 50% were given money to spend on someone else. And the people who bought themselves something, there was no significant increase in their happiness. But the people who actually went out and spent money and gave money to other people, there was a significant raise in their level of happiness. Another reason is we believe in the dignity of every human being, regardless of how strong, beautiful, successful, or wanted they are by the rest of the world. They were all created in God's image and likeness. We are called to help others just because they exist. We give to them because other people matter. We give out of gratitude, not out of guilt. We recognize that everything we have is a gift of God, and we are called to give back. What was given to you is yours, but you are asked to be a steward of your resources so that you can give them back. It's important that we be thoughtful givers. So it's not about how much we give, but it's about the fact that we sit down and we make a plan that we're going to give on a regular basis. Again, it's not about the amount. It's about the willingness to make a commitment to give to people, whatever charity you choose. And before I go any further, I just want to say to those of you out there who have contributed to me, I thank you from the very, very bottom of my heart. This ministry would not exist if it weren't for you. There are people that give very, very generously on a regular basis. There are other people that just give every once in a while. Please know that no matter how much you give, whether it's regular or once in a while or a little bit or a lot, I appreciate every single penny of it. I thank you. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So let's talk a little bit about scriptural references. Tobit 4:7 says, "Give alms from your possessions. Do not turn your face away from any of the poor, so that God's face will not be turned away from you." Matthew 6:3 says, "But when you give alms, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your almsgiving may be secret, and your Father who sees in secret will repay you." Proverbs 11:24, "And one gives freely that grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give and only suffers want." 2 Corinthians 9:7, "Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver." Luke 6:38, "Give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over." And Acts 20:35, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." So metaphysically, we know it is necessary to give freely if we want to receive freely. The law of receiving includes giving. The knowledge that substance is omnipresent and that man cannot therefore impoverish himself by giving, but rather will increase his supply, will enable man to give freely and cheerfully. As it says, Matthew 10:8, "Freely ye received, freely ye shall give." Charles Fillmore talks quite a bit about it. He says, "Practice giving even though it be in a small way. Give in love. Give when you cannot see any possibility of return. Give your real substance, the substance of the heart. With every possible token, whether it be money or what, that is, through the power of your word, bless and spiritually multiply everything that you give. See yourself as the steward of God, handing out his inexhaustible supply. Set in motion the mental forces that eventually bring large results into visibility. It is not the amount that you give as measured by the standards of the world that counts, but the goodwill that you send forth with your gift." So I have this incredible story about this 15-year-old girl. It is told by her mom, Lynn Dale. So Summer is the name of the daughter. When she was 15 years old, she was having a pain in her hip. They went to many doctors and nobody could find anything wrong with her. Everybody was saying there's nothing wrong. She must have just overexerted herself. We can't find anything. Don't worry about it. They were not making any big deal out of it at all. But she continued to have this pain, and she finally got an MRI. There was a mass on her pelvic bone the size of an orange. It was a sarcoma, and it was stage 4. It had spread to her spine, her femur, and her lungs. Before cancer, Summer was not a happy girl. She didn't like herself very much. From the description of it, it sounds like she might have been anorexia. She had very low self-esteem. She saw herself as overweight and unattractive, even though she wasn't at all. She had long, beautiful brown hair that she really, really loved. She was depressed. She didn't get along well at school, and this was before the cancer. Now that she had the cancer, her mom says she remembered her sobbing in her room at night saying, "Why me?" So she would go to the children's hospital to get her treatments, and she made no eye contact with anyone. There was no interaction at all with the other children. After the second round of chemo, her hair started to fall out. So she would wake up in the morning and there would be big clumps of hair on her pillow. And so after a while, she just asked to shave it. Her twin brother, her stepbrother, and 2 other friends had their heads shaved with her. There was a shaving party. This was the beginning of her transformation, where she didn't feel alone, and she had the power of the shared experience. So her friends and her family started this purple bracelet campaign, where they were giving away purple bracelets that said Team Summer. And half of the money was going to cover the medical expenses, and half of the money was being given to Summer for her to donate to any charity that she wanted, but she really had no interest in it whatsoever at all. Her mom said, sometimes you go out and ask for your help, and sometimes help just comes to you very unexpectedly. So one day when they were in the waiting room, this 11-year-old bald girl walked up to her and said, "Hi, my name is Sarah. Can I borrow your phone so I can play Angry Birds?" And she thought her mom thought she wouldn't do it, but Summer actually turned over her phone and started talking to her and asking her all these questions as she played the game. She found out that this was her second battle with cancer. Her first battle was when she was 8 years old, and they thought everything was fine, and now here she is 11, and it had come back again. Summer couldn't stop talking about her. When she went into the room for her own treatment, she was saying to her mom, "Mom, we've got to do something." And her mom said, "Well, we've got the bracelet money." So they ended up deciding to give her an iPad Touch so that she could play Angry Birds on her system whenever she wanted to. She said helping Sarah had Summer excited. Watching the connection that they had was better than any gift. Summer wasn't alone anymore. Summer was now on a mission to find more kids to help. She was turning into a different person. She was more focused on the other kids. The less she dwelled on her own struggle. She talked to kids and figured out what they all wanted. It all took her mind off of her own treatments. She decided to give this big box of Mega Blocks to this little boy to play with the night before he had to have his leg amputated. She called the gifts icebreakers. We're in this together. We're not alone. It lifted her up from the inside. The more gifts she gave, the more people contributed. She could see her own beauty for the first time, and she had plans for the future. She had things she wanted to do. She thought she might want to work in a cancer ward with children. She had many cancer treatments still left. She had multiple rounds of chemo. She had radiation where she was burned and exhausted. She had a very painful, long surgery, after which she sat up in bed and said, "Mom, I need a kid. Go get me a kid." And her mom understood that she needed to find somebody else that she could concentrate on so that she could figure out what gift to give them to get her mind off of the pain. She had a look of purpose back in her eyes when she was given a new kid to focus on. For 8 months, everything was going well. It looked like she was going to be cancer-free. She was getting ready to have her last surgery in her lungs before the cancer would all be gone. But then it came back, and it came back in 5 tumors in her brain. She had 2 brain surgeries, but it kept spreading. And eventually they said she had to go home. There was nothing more that they could do for her. And she said, "Mom, is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be a month? Is it going to be 6 months? Is it going to be a year? I need to know. I have plans." And her mom said to her, "We don't know. We don't know. If they knew, they'd tell us." And she said, "But it's not going to be 2 weeks. If it was going to be 2 weeks, they would have told us." It turned out it was 2.5 weeks. She died at home with her family and her friends. She was only 16 years old. Her mom said the silence was deafening. The only thing that was worse than losing Summer was losing what she started. She went back to the kids and she said, okay, now it's your time to start giving. You find kids to give gifts to. Give as many gifts that you want. We raised the money and they gave the gifts. And then those kids became givers. She said she's often in the background watching. I find myself watching the face of the giver more than the receiver. I saw the same sense of purpose and satisfaction. They're not victims. They had the same glow that Summer had. Was it possible that kids giving were getting more out of the program than kids that were getting the gifts? One mom said it was the only time that she saw her daughter smile was when she was giving gifts. That girl was able to give 10 gifts. Team Summer saved her daughter's life. Without it, she said she would have given up. Giving made her daughter stronger. It was an important force at work here. She knew it wasn't about her. It was about some force that she had tapped into. She said, helping Team Summer kids is how I survived losing my daughter. Do we have to be broken to get this? It does seem like the pain shakes us out of complacency. We all have cracks. We will be brought to our knees by something. We will get from it the gift of compassion and empathy. You've got to give to be happy, and then help those in need and teach those people how to become givers. The gift of giving is the greatest gift of all. Go find someone to help and watch for the magic. So here's what I know. I was able to come up with 7 points that I would reference that I hope are helpful for you. Number 1, the greatest way to say thank you to God is by giving back. It shows that we know that God has given us everything that we will ever need. I know there are some people that are facing challenges right now that are financial and they're feeling afraid. Stay in the present moment. Know that right here, right now, today, you are safe, you are loved, you are cared for, you have a roof over your head, and you have food to eat. Have faith that God knows what we need and will always provide. Giving away doesn't reduce our supply. By creating a void that has to be filled, more will come. Number 2, we are God's hands and feet on the ground. If we really love God and are appreciative and we feel His presence in our lives in overwhelming ways, we know we are called for a purpose, to spread that love as deeply and as often as possible. Giving to others is how we are God's hands and feet, whether it is money or time to just listen, to sit with someone, to run errands for them, to walk their dog, to help with technical issues. We are here for a reason. Number 3, thoughts create reality. If you come from a place of scarcity and tightly holding on, you will create more fear and anxiety. You will send a message to the universe that says, I don't have enough. And you will keep getting more of, I don't have enough. Giving sends the message to the universe, I know there is infinite supply, and as I give, more will be given to me. Number 4, trusting in God. Either God is everything or He is nothing. Do we really believe that we are being taken care of and that we are divinely protected? Giving says yes, I believe that and I trust God. Number 5, giving back makes us happier. I have examples, so many examples of that. One that is when my dad passed, I was given a little bit of an inheritance, and there was a friend of mine who was very, very sick at the time, and I was able to buy him things that made him happier, things that he would not have been able to afford himself. And as he got happier, he got stronger, and he was able to get treatments, and he was able to get well. And I was able to see that my ability to give had come from my dad's giving to me, and my giving to him helped him to get stronger. And so giving made me happier. Same thing happened when my mom passed. There was a friend of mine who ended up homeless, even though he was working. He had been put out of his home by his partner, and his daughter also ended up in the hospital, and his car also fell apart. And I was able to give him some money. And as I watched him get back on his feet, that made me incredibly happy. And so the giving that had been given to me, I was able to give to someone else, and it just creates this incredible circle. Number 6, it can't be all about words. When you say to people that you love them, action is what matters more than words. You know, I talk all the time about my little kitties that wake me up in the middle of the night. And for a while they were sick and they needed help because they were sick. Now they just wake me up in the middle of the night because they're hungry. And it's not okay to just say I love you and hold them. So it's like that with all of the people in our lives. We can't just say I love you. Giving is our way of giving back, is our way of saying I love you. It's our way of putting the actions that go together with the words. And number 7, it's up to us to change. The hoarding, me first, envy, greed. As we change our consciousness, we change the lives of all of those with whom we connect. It's up to us to be the difference. You know, the song says, we are so caught up inside ourselves, we take when we should give. It's up to us to be the change. And even though we all can still do more, there's so much to be thankful for. So for tonight, we pray for what we know can be. And every day we hope for what we still can't see. It's up to us to be the change. And so it is. Remember, at all times the power is in you. It always has been, and it always will be. I'd love to hear from you how your time of Lent is going, how you are making changes so that you can get ready for this huge, amazing transformation that's going to happen at Easter. I know that with your praying more, with your giving up something so that you're distracted less and can be more in communication with God, and your giving opens up your heart to God and makes your relationship even stronger every single moment. I thank you so much for listening, and I send you on your way with many blessings.